Hey guys, about a week ago, I noticed a picture on Facebook. It was this knife, and it took me about a second to say, well, that looks an awful lot like the SR1A, which it does. It is Ganzo's version of the SR1A. This is the G720-G. This is my first Ganzo. I've had many other Chinese-made knives, such as SR1A and Lionsteel, and I've had good experiences with them. So I said, well, you know what? I really want to test out the G720-G because the SR1 was always on my wish list. I thought it was a very beautiful knife, and I've only seen good reviews on it. And I could not get myself to get the SR1, the titanium handled version. I got the SR1A, which is a bit less expensive, but also just as good, in my opinion. Now, it does have a few cool features. The handle is made out of one piece of aluminium. It has a frame lock with a steel insert, so the steel from the blade does not wear off the frame lock. It has a rotoblock mechanism which keeps the frame lock engaged, so you cannot disengage it unless you disengage the rotoblock. It does have Teflon washers. I once said plastic and I was corrected. It does have Teflon washers, which makes the knife very smooth to open. However, there are a few problems with it. First of all, I think this is a very beautiful knife, and in itself that is a problem because I could never get myself to abuse this knife. I have cut wood, cardboard, plastic, and yes, I have worked with it, but I could not get myself to chop with it or split wood because it's such a beautiful knife. Now, my ZT-0561 has done those things. Even if it's more expensive than the SR1A, I just could not get myself to abuse it or modify it very much. The second problem is the fact that the handle is a bit thin. A bit more thickness would have been good. Then you have the clip, which does bother you a bit, and it did happen to me on a few occasions that something else pulled the folder out of my pocket. And then you have these edges right here. Now the one by the frame lock does not bother you actually. When you squeeze it in hand, you will feel it, but when you actually cut something, putting pressure on the edge, it will move it away. However, you'll get a pivot right here in your palm of your hand, and it will push these edges into your small finger, which is not that pleasant. Now, back to this knife. I followed the link under the picture on Facebook, and it led me to gearbest.com, and I noticed it costs $16.99. It got shipped to me Thursday evening, I think. 6 o'clock I got the email, something like that, and it got to me Tuesday morning, so 4.5 days. I was pretty much expecting somewhere about 2-3 weeks. 4.5 days, which is great because the excitement did not get to wear off. I could not wait to get it, and sometimes when you wait too long for something, it kind of takes away from it. 4.5 days, awesome. And I just ripped the packaging open, I got the box. You also get a nice pouch with it. Who cares? Opened the knife, very smooth, does not have blade play, and with the access lock you can even close it. So very smooth, no blade play, cool. Now the next thing I did was squeeze it in hand, and I said, wow, this feels better than the SR1A than I remembered it. And when I got home, I put them both on a scale, and I compared them, measured them, something I don't really do that often, but I did it in this case. Weight, The SR1A weighs about 151 grams. This one weighs 204. That is 7.2 ounces. 2 ounces heavier than the SR1A. So if weight is a concern for you, stay away from this one. If it's not, which for me it isn't, I actually like the fact that it weighs 7.2 ounces. Makes it feel more reliable, more stable, in my opinion at least. No problem for me there. And then I measured the thickness of the handle. It is 3 millimeters thicker than the SR1A, which is exactly what I need. Just fits me like a glove. The pocket clip, I like it much more. You can see the SR1A, and you can see the G720. This is much more comfortable. Straight from just getting it out of box and playing with it. I did not use it yet. I just got it. But I'm very excited about it. And I'm making this video because I've seen there are not many videos about this knife. So, thickness, great. Pocket clip, great. And these edges don't really cut into your hand if you pull it. Never had such a G10 handle textured with this sort of texture like the SR1 has, and it feels very grippy and not at all uncomfortable. I like it. Now the axis lock, I like axis locks. They keep the handle symmetrical. Now back locks also do it, but with back locks you have a problem. No matter how well built the handle is, whenever you put pressure on the blade, you will feel the blade move the lock. I'm testing, carrying the Spyderco Native, and I'm having this problem. Now I remembered why I wasn't the biggest fan of the Delica. Even though that one had nested liners, and this one doesn't, it's still, when you cut something, the blade moves the lock into your hand and it feels less stable. The axis lock does not do that. Even with the Griptilian 551, where the liners are just partial like this, it still feels much more stable than a lockback. And I like a symmetrical handle, a symmetrical knife. Very, very cool. I like the locking mechanism. I like the fact that the liners are not drilled out, adding to the weight. I like the G10, I like the color, I like the feel of it, and I cannot wait to modify the edge angle and start beating on this knife. Now, the blade on the G720-G is a bit shorter, I think 1 or 2 millimeters shorter than the SR1A, and the tip drops a bit more. Once again, something I like. Time will tell whether the 440C from Ganzo is any good, whether the heat treatment is appropriate. I don't know. This is my first Ganzo knife. I have Senran Moos and Enlans and Rail Steels, and I like them. Hopefully, this will not disappoint. But for $17, you know what? If it does, it's really not a problem. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I will put a link where I got this knife from, that is GearBest, in the description. If you care, I was very happy with the time it got to me. 4.5 days, that was just crazy. I'm still very happy about it. And if you have any questions about either one of them, just post them in the comment section. I'll get to them as soon as possible. I'd like to thank you for watching, and as always, I wish you all a great day.